Hey everybody, it's John Corelli, your average guy. His average guy opinions. This is episode 57. I'm going to talk about Potato Head, or as some people still want to call it, Mr. Potato Head or Mrs. Potato Head. Uh, why do you care? Why are you getting upset, people? There are people actually getting upset over this. Why? It's a fucking potato. Potatoes don't have sex or gender. I don't even know if they're a vegetable. Are they a legume? They grow in the ground. That's all I know, and they're often delicious. Kids still do play with the potato head toy. I can attest to that. We had a couple of them at my old elementary school where I used to work until about a year ago, or even 6 months ago. Excuse me. Still waking up, but but they. Come on. Oh, sorry. Look at the birds. Look at the squirrels. Do what you got to do. Okay, I'll do what I have to do. But yeah, Potato Head. I don't know. I didn't, like I said, average guy. Didn't do any research on this. Just going off the top of my head on this. A little early in the morning, drinking coffee, getting going, and but not running out of opinions. I'm going to do this all year. My goal is 365 by the end of the year, and maybe to keep going for the rest of my life. So, maybe we need to talk gender politics when it comes to this. Oh, what I was going to say was the the kids still play with them. They get imaginative and play with them. And I do have I have so many questions, not just about why anyone cares, whether it's Mr. or Mrs. Potato Head. Maybe they got a divorce, and maybe he didn't want to keep his name either. I don't know. Maybe he didn't want to keep his prefix. He's just a swinging potato, just out there on the town, ready to grill it up with some. Maybe he wants to date a radish. I don't know. Is that a mixed race thing? Would we have a problem with that? I don't know. I think he's a little big for a radish. He should probably date a sweet potato. Oh man, I'm coming up with him this morning, guys. That coffee kicked in quick. But it does get. I guess we get into gender politics when it comes with this, don't we? Like I say, why do you care? I'm always of the frame of mind, and I always will be, that if you're not hurting anyone, um, who cares? Who really cares about what prefix comes before an imaginary toy? It doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything if you keep it. It doesn't change anything if you change it. Um, so a lot of people are like, "How dare Hasbro?" I think it was Hasbro, and some people are like, "Yay for Hasbro," but a lot of people are like, "We don't give a shit." Especially trans people are just like, "We don't care. Just treat us the way you treat everyone else. Just give us the same benefits you give everyone else. Don't discriminate against us, and we're fine. We don't give a shit about Mr. or Mrs. Potato Head, whether they're called that or just called Potato Head. Just don't throw potatoes at us when we walk down the street because they hurt." All right, that's silliness. Um, and then another thing I thought of is, how did they come up with this toy? I honestly don't know, and I could look into it, but like I said, I'm gonna just venture into some conjecture because it's a potato head, it's a toy, and it's not important if I do research on this or not. But did they used to do that on the farm, like back in the 50s? I think the toy was invented in the 50s or 60s, and it came out that time, maybe earlier. But people used to have to be pretty imaginative before toys came out. Toys are a relatively new phenomenon. I mean, they've been around since before Christ. There's evidence that the ancient Incans had toys, but the level they are, especially today, but even the last century, obviously toys became a business that they weren't before. Excuse me. So yeah, it is interesting, but I think I always, or not always, lately I like to imagine were they sticking shit in a potato at the potato farm, going, "Oh yeah, this is something we do every year." It's like Halloween. Instead of carving a jack o' lantern, we stick shit in the potato and make it look like a face. I mean, the little things on the potatoes are called eyes. Maybe that's where that came from. One day, a guy looked at a potato, a farmer went, "Ah, that does look like a face." It was before Sharpies came out, but he probably somehow fashioned a mouth on there and a nose. Look, that was pretty funny. Maybe found a way to make it stand up. And maybe that's the genesis of what became the potato head phenomenon. I can imagine millions of dollars of these were sold. I played with them in the 70s. I don't know if I had one, but if I didn't, I definitely had friends who had them. It's an interesting thing. But I think the real issue is just let's not worry about it. It's not important. Um, I'm guessing Hasbro put a press release out to look woke. All right, just be nice to each other. If a person's trans, um, let them be trans. Um, my child is on that road right now. Logan is figuring it out. I'll just put it that way. Logan is 16. Logan was born a boy, but Logan will possibly be a woman in the not so distant future. We're going to see. Logan has talked about um, hormone replacement therapy and becoming a woman as an adult. It's interesting. And it's hard to talk about your child in third person when the first 15 years of his life you knew him as a boy. But that's just do a little mental exercise. Try to adjust your brain. There are certain things I do disagree with the trans movement, and it's a language thing. I have no problem. Do what you want. It's your body. Do what you want. And let people do what they want with their bodies. Be accepting of it and be accepting of any lifestyle as long as it's not hurting anybody. You shouldn't care. The population argument doesn't wash because there's nearly 8 billion of us and we're already not taking care of each other, so we don't need any more kids. Putting more people on this planet actually lessens our chances at surviving as a race, not more procreation. So let's just take care of each other. Plenty of people are going to procreate, trust me. We're going to be fine in that regard. Excuse me. So back to trans issues a little bit. I do, like I said, the issues I have are more with language, and the big one is they. It's going to be a real bug for this brain, this hardwired brain, after 53 years of using a language in a certain way and using a word in a certain way, of calling one person they. That's just difficult because classically, they, and let's be honest, 99.9% of the time, they is used as a pronoun as a word to describe at least more than one person. So it gets confusing. And actually, I had written a bit where they is used to describe one person on a playground full of children, because that's what I've dealt with the last 5-6 years. And it becoming a who's on first type of routine. I think it could actually be funny. I never have tried it on stage, and I never fully wrote it out, but I always thought that's kind of funny because it kind of goes like, well, okay, I'm out on the playground and I'm kind of observing the children. There's 100 out there, and so another teacher comes out and goes, "Hey, I'm looking for Jaden." I'm like, which one? Because we have boys and girls named Jaden. We did in my old school. And I'm like, which one? They're like, the boy. I'm like, well, they both identify as they. Well, the one that's kind of an asshole. Well, they're both assholes, so you're not helping me any further there. So and then the joke would probably, hopefully, progress into a who's on first type of routine. And you got to be careful in comedy these days because although I think that has a good potential to be funny, it's hard because you can easily offend people today. It's just part of doing comedy and part of trying to say something somewhat important and somewhat topical, but roll it into a joke. I probably don't have the skill to do it. I've been doing it for 12 years, but that doesn't mean, yeah, hi, goodbye, little guy. I've been doing it for 12 years, but very sporadically, and even if you've been doing it for 30 years, you might not have the skill set or the writing skills or the performing skills to pull that off. And I know I don't. I just host my little mic every Friday and have fun with it. Trying to not make it too much about me, but it's hard for me to talk about gender identity, politics, and Mr. or Mrs. or just plain potato head. But we're closing in on 10 minutes, so we kind of did it. I know the energy's low today. I don't know if I did that great with this, but I tried, and I'm going to try to be more topical. Probably going to talk about OnlyFans. I really don't. I know very little about it. I've not looked into it. It's not my business. I don't care. but it's a thing. And so I'm going to maybe do a scan amount of research like I do and get back to you in episode 58 about that, most likely. All right, thanks, guys. That was episode 57. We'll see you next time. Thanks for coming in. Bye.